This story is also called The Halloween Mystery and Eyewitnesses. Eyewitnesses is a terrible title because the premise is that Ellery solves a murder mystery in a pitch-black room.
Argofont Book Review, Argofont Book Review.
Nikki is invited to a fun Halloween party. The ghost host says you have to dress up in a black cat costume and go through a darkened room, and she uses tons of exclamation marks. Nikki likes it. Ellery hates it so much, he wishes he could be the murder victim in this story, so he could get out of the party early. The dark room has a bunch of random items scattered everywhere, so it's impossible to get across without smashing into a ton of things. Ellery grabs for Nikki's hand, but the thing he grabs is not a hand. Did Ellery slip a dirty joke into this story? Ellery hates the party and all the people there, who are Lucy Trent, Edith and Jerry Baxter, and Anne and John Crombie. They play a few party games before someone suggests playing Murder Mystery. Ellery has to roll his eyes at this because people always force him to play murder games at parties. He hates it. Nikki's setup for the murder game is more complicated than it needs to be. She forces everyone to stand silently in place in the dark while the killer goes through the kitchen door 4 times. It's almost like Nikki knows there will be a real murder here, and she's accommodating the killer by giving them as much time as possible. When the lights turn back on, they discover John has been killed for real. Edith is found unconscious in the closet of the dark room. Suspicion falls upon Edith because she was having an affair with the victim. Ellery knows who the killer is now, but it wouldn't be any fun if he told his dad who to arrest right away. No, he's got to put on a big scene where he goes through the entire murder step by step and explains everything. That's way more fun. Ellery forces everybody into reenacting the murder in the dark. He claims it's for the sake of the police, but it's really a trick. He's goading the impulsive killer into making a move against him, which is exactly what happens. Just as he's about to name the culprit, the killer proves her guilt by trying to attack him in the dark. The crucial clue is that the killer put Edith in the closet of the dark room. That's impossible. No one can cross the dark room without bumping into something. No one, that is, except Lucy Trent, who's the person who set up the room. The end. Post-story follow-up. I thought the mystery solution was kinda dumb. I read another review which thought the solution was extremely dumb. How did the culprit get through the impossible maze in the dark? They walked very carefully, that's how. And they did it while carrying an unconscious woman to boot. I agree, the culprit walked carefully is kind of a cheater solution. I would have preferred, unknown to the others, the culprit cleared a pathway ahead of time, then set the room back to the original state while she pretended to find Edith's body in the closet. That solution could have worked, and it would have been more satisfying than the solution of, just kidding, the impossible crime isn't impossible after all. The last paragraph reveals Lucy's the killer. I wish the story went on past that point because I wanted to hear more about her motive and preparation. Was the murder planned or was it a spur-of-the-moment decision? Either way, it's not a good idea to commit a murder based on the presence of a genius detective. You're likely to get caught. There is little effort put into the characters in this story. It's hard to tell them apart, especially when they're all talking about the victim's affair, because the story says Anne's sister in place of Lucy and Jerry's wife in place of Edith. So if you don't have them all figured out before then, well, you're just going to be lost. In the story's defense, it is appropriate for the characters to be hard to distinguish because Ellery hates them all, and he doesn't care about them and doesn't put any effort into getting to know them. In fact, he spends the first half of the story insulting them in his thoughts. Some of his insults were kind of sexist, which put me off, but Ellery's grumpiness was probably the highlight of the story. Everything else was kind of bad, which is a shame. Solving a murder mystery in the dark at a costumed Halloween party should have been a fun premise. I give Ellery Queen, The Adventure of the Dead Cat, a thumbs down.